Welcome back. I'm hopeful that your time away from your classroom, office, or place of work was full of time with family and friends. It is times like the holidays which allow us to rest, reflect, and rejuvenate our hearts and minds, and hope that this past holiday did just that for you. As we begin reopening our laptops, lesson plans for our next class, or preparing our school buildings for our scholars and parents, I find it important to continue the conversation by providing an update on where we are in our journey and begin laying foundation for the next steps we need to take together. It is also the time of year where football fans watch their favorite football teams pull off victories in the finest form through the college football bowl season, including our own Ohio State Buckeyes. Their big win in the Rose Bowl will always leave question whether or not they too should have been in the college football playoff. What is not in question are the two teams in the championship game next Monday, Clemson and the Alabama Crimson Tide. However, a few months ago, some of Clemson's faithful might have questioned whether they would be in the national championship game next Monday or not. Early in the season, Coach Dabo Swinney made a dramatic change at arguably the most important position, quarterback. He moved away from his once all-ACC quarterback, someone who brought them to the national championship game, a senior quarterback who had gone 16-2 as a starter on the largest college football stage in the country, in favor of a freshman. Yes, a young, inexperienced quarterback with no collegiate track record of winning, no formal college football training other than a spring and summer's worth of practice, and no proof that would ease the mind of Coach Swinney that changing his quarterback would make the team better. When asked about his change at quarterback, he said, "At the end of the day, my job is to put the best people out there and give the team the best chance to win. And based on 4 games, that's the decision that was made. These decisions are tough, but that is my job. There's tough decisions that have to be made at this level, and you have to do what is best for the team." You may be thinking, that is a great story, but what does that have to do with Lorain City Schools? This is not football. This is not the University of Clemson. We are a school district. We are not trying to win a national championship. And yes, this is all true. However, we are trying to win. There are young people and families who are looking to us to create a winning program, one that continues to get better by putting its best team on the field and does whatever it takes to do right by kids every single day, day in and day out. They are looking to us to make adjustments, not excuses. They are looking to us to make those tough decisions and realize that these tough decisions can and will put us in the best position possible for our scholars to be successful. This is where we are connected. It is comforting to know that organizations, sports teams or otherwise, across the world engage in conversations and tough decisions like the ones we need to make. Decisions easier said than done. The hope and the goal is to engage in dialogue that will promote future conversation and collaborations that detail what is possible and purposeful rather than conversations laden in fear, rumor, and secrecy. Much like last year, this conversation continues in January. I will lay out the intentions of the districts as we move forward and seek additional thoughts and ideas through future town hall meetings and school visits to ensure that we are prepared for what we need to do to continue our path of improvement for years to come. By having very open conversations about our reality, providing insight through very transparent and data-informed avenues, we will arrive at our destination with an understanding that the road ahead will take time, dedication, and energy, focus on what is in the best interest of our scholars with the Lorain community in mind. Here's what keeps me excited about waking up every single day to come to work. Our elementary schools' continued effort to make sure that scholars and teachers alike come to school every day to make each other better is nothing short of awe-inspiring. For instance, Stacy McDaniel and a group of teachers and scholars who come to learn more on Saturdays, the rejuvenated culture and joy at Stephen DeHanas, and the fun and the excitement that lives at Helen Steiner Rice in classrooms like Mr. Miguel Acasio's all provide hope for our scholars' future. I have become encouraged by such love and care for our kids by everyone at those schools and throughout the elementary school buildings. I'm also encouraged by the growth we are seeing in our early college academy at the high school and the promise it is creating. I see opportunities for the shining light from the program expanding in ways that we must find a way to be prepared for. We anticipate a significant increase in the number of scholars who will graduate this year with an associate's degree, with 21 scholars at our high school campus on pace to do so, up from just 4 scholars last year. Financially, we have been very prudent with our spending. We have trimmed where we have made it possible and are now out of financial caution with the state for the first time in over a decade. At the same time, we realize that over the next few years, we will have to continue on this trend to remain financially solvent. I also see and hear many of the challenges we still need to face. The fact that we have seen an increase in absenteeism, especially at the middle and high school levels by both teachers and scholars, is a concern. We know that our middle and high school classrooms are in the greatest need of our support. And as a district, it is our obligation to creatively figure out how to best support our scholars so they can reach their full potential. Even though we have received a very limited response from our staff on our engagement survey, I thank those who took the time to provide their insights, feedback, and words of encouragement, because it's your thoughts that will make us better, make all of us better. I wish there was a way to identify each of you individually for your thoughts, but please know that your input will make us better as a district because of the very insightful trends that became prominent throughout your responses. It became clear that there is a need to boost morale and need to identify areas where we can improve our support to schools. By doing so, we will ensure that we are addressing the concerns that will empower our teachers who may not feel comfortable speaking up for what is right for our scholars. We thank the hundreds of teachers and staff who have deep pride in our schools, and we want the best for our kids, and realize that internally we have work to do to make sure we have the best people with our scholars at all times. Our scholars did a sensational job of providing their perspective as well. Our high school freshman class outpaced response rates of our entire staff by themselves and provided a ton of insight on how they are feeling, much of which indicated a resounding trend across the entire student body. They are desiring love, a deep care for doing their best at all times, by learning about who they are as people and expect them to do more by showing them what is possible. This was loud and clear in their comments and opinions. Less than 50% of our middle school scholars felt that their teachers cared about them enough and cared about their learning, while in our elementary schools, our scholars answered this question with percentages in the 70 and 80 percentile ranges. Seeing firsthand how hard our teachers work, we have to find a way to help improve that feeling from our middle and high school levels at a higher rate. I point out these data points as a moment for us to reflect and grow. Great teams make adjustments, not excuses. And I know we all aspire to be great. The hundreds of scholar comments and the strong individual comments from staff have helped our administrative office shape some preliminary priorities for you that we will finalize in February. It is then I will announce these priorities during the monthly town hall meeting. In the interim, please know a few more things will happen. 1, I will need to visit a number of schools and spend significant time, especially in our middle and high school classrooms, to understand the opportunities we have to grow together. I see our middle and high schools as the highest priority that needs to be addressed as we improve and move forward. 2, I want to continue to try to hear from all of you. Even though our survey response rate was extremely low, my team and I will continue to find a way to engage with you through chief chats, one-on-one conversations, emails that we'll give out to you for insight, other informal meetings, and opportunities for you to make sure that our potential priorities for next year are the best ones for us, especially as we consider curricular resource improvements and professional learning opportunities. We cannot live, lead, or teach in fear of what is coming. We must engage in conversation about what we need to see change. Your voice, honesty, and hope will make this happen. Lastly, I have to make sure, much like Dabo Sweeney has done with Clemson, that we are in the best position to win for our kids. His approach to accountability and belief in doing what is in the best interest of his program resonates with me, and it is only right that we do the same for our kids. As I think about school accountability, it will be important to establish a method, a system that will allow us to review school performance in a transparent and motivating way so we can make the necessary adjustments annually and routinely as a part of our continual improvement process. With that said, I heard from you almost 18 months ago when I first started. There was a need to share district plans earlier. Last year, we kept that promise and shared our priorities in January, previewing the year ahead. This year, we plan to do the same. January's Town Hall will be the opportunity to hear our first draft of the big priorities for the 2019-2020 school year. We welcome everyone to engage in a conversation about the continued improvements we need to make in our school system and provide your thoughts on what you see and hear. February's Town Hall will be a reflection of what we heard from you in January and finalizing our priorities for the upcoming school year. February will be an opportunity to re-engage in our conversation that will outline the current thinking about our priorities and begin the process of mobilizing our intentions so that we can garner task force committees that will work throughout the spring to ensure we are ready for next year. Like last year, we will ask volunteers to participate in making our path forward clear and prepare our district for the next year so we can improve our implementation of initiatives. As we move forward, I could not be more excited about what 2019 will bring for us. This is our year to make a large, collective step forward. A step forward that will ask for a deep belief in what is right for our kids, a sense of optimism that will allow for moments of challenge and sacrifice to become opportunities for deepened commitment, purpose, and possibility. It is time to roll up our collective sleeves, focus our minds, and move forward in the best interest of our scholars and the families we love. Thank you for listening. Let's have a great start to our new year together.